Why did you stop going to a restaurant you liked? 1. Long ago, I had a favorite Italian restaurant. On one occasion, my mother wanted to treat me and my wife and children to a meal and I selected that one. The meal was very good, but when the bill arrived the total was too high, and when my mother checked it she saw her own meal was charged much higher than it should have been. She asked the waitress and they quickly discovered the kitchen had misheard the order and prepared a much more expensive dish than my mother had ordered. That discovery should have ended the problem with a price adjusted to what was actually ordered. But the waitress insisted that the expensive dish had been prepared and consumed and my mother should have rejected it when it was served, if she didn't want to pay for it. My mother, having never been to that restaurant before, had no way of knowing what the dish she had ordered would look like. The manager came over and amazingly agreed with the waitress. They had quite a long argument and my mother held firm and ultimately paid for only what she had ordered. I found the manager's behavior so offensive that the idea of eating there again never seemed right. 2. When I was in college I frequented a small Chinese buffet. I went there a couple times a week before work and made small talk with the owner. I also brought my friends at least once most weekends. One rainy Tuesday they had the buffet shut down, so the owner just told me to sit. He then proceeded to bring out a plate of everything I took off the buffet. Not only did he know me, he knew all my favorite foods. That is to say I went there a lot. So in my town the health inspector's rating went from 100. The pizza place I worked for got a 98, and I know how clean it was not, as I was the one who cleaned it. At 60, they would shut a place down. My Chinese place got a 30-something. They had to tear the building down. I don't know what I was eating, but to this day I have a pretty robust immune system. 3. My wife and I went out for a burger the other night at our favorite burger spot. We liked their burgers because they used good ingredients, a really nice bun, fresh veggies, a nice variety of add-ons, and their fries, tater tots and onion rings are always hot and crispy. Most importantly, their burger patties are large, well seasoned, charbroiled and always cooked to the temperature you desire. At least they were. Sadly, the burgers we got the other night weren't the same. The buns, lettuce, tomato and other fillings were the same, but the burger patties were some low-grade substitute. We both noticed the change as soon as we bit into them. Instead of the meaty ground chuck they advertised their patties to be made from, we had gotten some sort of soggy, flavorless mushy patty. I think they are cutting cost by switching to a lower quality, higher fat grade of ground beef. Not only were the burgers disappointing, my wife's fries, my tater tots and the onion rings on my barbecue burger were terrible. They were frying foods in burnt up grease. I could smell the odor of old grease when the food was brought to our table and could tell by the color of the tater tots that they needed to change the oil in the fryers. All of the fried stuff had a bitter metallic burnt grease flavor. Moments after we got our food, the power went out on the block. Their hoods went down and the little dining area started to fill up with smoke from the broiler. What a disaster of a dinner. I didn't bother to complain nor ask for a refund, since they had no power and their registers were down. So we ate what we could in the acrid smoke-filled dining room and left. We probably won't return.